Let us talk about the Cuba Libre restaurant and rum bar, tucked inside the quarter at the Tropicana Casino Resort, right on the Atlantic City Boardwalk. You walk through those doors and you're transported into an Old Havana courtyard, complete with tropical foliage, vintage decor, dramatic ceilings, and balconies looking down over two open-air floors. It's one of the most distinctive dining spots in Atlantic City's restaurant scene. And after digging through the latest reviews, I've looked at about the last 20 reviews on TripAdvisor. I wanted to find out if it lives up to that atmosphere. So let's start with what people are raving about. The Plato Gaucho mixed grill, comes up again and again. It's about $90, but it's a sizzling platter loaded with steak, lobster tail, shrimp, chicken, and chorizo sausage. And multiple reviewers mentioned that when someone orders it, the staff literally rings a bell and announces it to the whole restaurant. That kind of theater is exactly what people come here for. Beyond that showstopper, guests are loving the vaca frita, the empanada, the croquetas, and the traditional luncheon asado. On the drink side, the mojitos get named specifically, with more than one reviewer saying the same bartender made them the same delicious way every single visit. Service is a big highlight too. Several reviewers called out servers by name, Eddie, Oscar among them, for being attentive and knowledgeable about the menu. And I can attest to that. The guy that I had with me was great. One family even mentioned the manager personally stopping by their table twice to check it on the kids. And then there's the atmosphere angle that makes this place unique. It's not just a restaurant. It doubles up as a late night club. Multiple reviewers point out that if you keep your dinner receipt, you get free entry to the DJ dance party afterward, complete with salsa, bachata, merengue, and reggaeton. A few guests specifically planned their whole night around that transition from dinner to dancing. Now, here's where the viewer gets a little bit more mixed. A noticeable chunk of guests reported serious inconsistency in the kitchen. One reviewer described chicken that didn't fully cook. Another had steak ordered medium that came out with basically no flavor at all, and was frustrated to pay $200, costing me about $160 for two, saying they had better food at IHOP that same night. A few reviewers speculated that food quality depends heavily on which cook is working that shift, which would explain why some visits are spectacular and others fall flat. Slow service, another recurring theme. Multiple reviewers mentioned waits of 30 minutes or more between the appetizer and the entree. I did not experience that, even on nights when the restaurant wasn't particularly busy. One reviewer called the mains average, nothing specials, despite a long wait, and said they had a much better Cuban food elsewhere. There were also a couple of minor gripes about uncomfortable seating and wobbly tables needing a physical wedge to level them out. I didn't experience that either. And then there is a one true negative outlier, a New York Eve visitor who paid $50 expecting a party to start at 9:30, only to wait until past 11 with no music, no DJ, no dancing at all before giving up and leaving angry. So here's the takeaway, folks. When Cuba Libre is firing on all cylinders, which based on these reviews, you get genuinely great Cuban food, a lovely atmosphere, attentive servers, and a fun night that turns into a dance party. But there's a real risk of an off night where there's slow service and consistent dish, or in rare cases like that New Year's Eve review, an event that just doesn't deliver what was promised. If you're planning a special occasion here, it might be worth checking recent reviews closer to your date and maybe skip peak nights like New Year's Eve if a big event is the whole reason you're going. That's a random on Cuba Libre at the Tropicana. If you're eating there, let me know what your comments, whether your experience matched the hype. See you on the next white, and don't forget to subscribe now.